I'm going to go ahead and call bullshit on adding the sounds of dinosaurs. Like,
Well,
who is around to capture the sounds of dinosaurs?
well, obviously it's on reel to reel. It's not digital. Um,
Clearly, yes. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Hey, everybody out there. Welcome back to another installment of the Audiophiles. It's Andy, it's John, and it's time to listen to music. John's going to offer me up something. I'm going to go off and give it a listen, and my thoughts. I'm going to come back and get into it in depth. But before we can do any of that, John, you're going to have to offer it up to me, man. So what have you got in store?
so you may remember we listened to a track by this band um, back in September. The band is the Charlatans, and the track was Then. Viewer's request from Billy Rawlins. And so, quick as a flash, 8 months later, I've got another track for you. Um,
Excellent. Excellent.
I think I might have even mentioned then. The track is called One to Another.
Okay. One to another. All right. Well, I guess I have everything I need. I will go off, give this a listen, and we can come back and discuss. Weird. Okay. I want to take it back to the beginning because it's very interesting start the way they're piecing this all together. I mean, we've got this like industrial slash hip hop slash techno like drum beat, and then what sounds like some sort of digital didgeridoo. I don't know if it's the authentic instrument, but it definitely has that sound. And then you get these like almost like escalating chords on the keys that kind of tie everything together, which is an interesting way to tie something up that has didgeridoo in it. I just wasn't expecting that. So yeah, very interesting way to start things off, and because of that, we're gonna do it all over again. Wow, wow, wow. Uh, I love how the verses are given like room to breathe, and like it allows the vocals to be delivered without competing for oxygen with all the other instruments. But in between each of these vocal portions, there's that dun 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 dun, dun and that kind of like ramps everything up and gives it a shot in the arm, and then that kind of gives out and allows the vocalist to come in and kind of shine a little bit. Like I said, I love that technique. I love that progression that I just mentioned being sort of like, thus far anyway, this like connection point between each bit of the song. Yeah, good stuff. Let's take it back a little bit. It opens up. I'm liking this resonance. Another 4.5 minute song that flew by and felt like more like 3 minutes. Yeah, and ironically enough, I also really love the energy on this one. Yeah, I love again that motif, that progression, sort of being the connection piece between each of these. And there was the first time they introduced that dun, dun, and then the sort of resonance in between that area, in between, like within that resonance, there was like this synthy kind of sound that was like acting as a sort of like spackle to kind of like fill in this gap in sound. And it sounded very interesting. And I'm wondering what created that. Also, I'm like, I heard bits and pieces of, again, what could have been that thing that I'm just jokingly, semi jokingly saying is a didgeridoo. I'm wondering if that's not just like a wah pedal combined with some other effect on the guitar to give it that kind of, because there is a bit of wow wow to it, which obviously it's in the name, right? It's a bit of an onomatopoeia, that wah wah pedal. So yeah, I'm thinking maybe there's something happening there that's creating that sound. I really do like that sound a lot. Those kind of industrial kind of whatever that drum work was. It's really, really good. All right, charlatans, let's get back to John and learn more about you.
Okie dokie, you're back.
Yep, I'm back.
What do you reckon?
Oh, I reckon plenty of things, John. What about this song in particular? I reckon I like it. We get this. It kicks off with this almost like industrial hip hop or techno like drum beat. Like it's kind of an interesting little drum pattern we've got going on here. I really liked it. I thought that was engaging right out of the gate. Then we also get what sounds like a didgeridoo, like this very interesting kind of sound, or at least something akin to that anyway. And yeah, that interesting sound coupled with this interesting the packaging of the drums, my intrigue was piqued from the jump. Um, and then there are these like escalating keynotes that are like chords that appear out of nowhere, as well as this interesting little digital sounding mechanism that herald in the full
Yeah.
realization of the song. And
I
again,
love that little that first sort of 10, 15 seconds.
yeah, because
Such
it's
an
a
interesting
lot of
start.
disparate, you would think,
Yeah.
disparate sounding, motifs going on that they all like I would have put of like in like techno drums, a didgeridoo, that weird little digital sound, and then full blown like striking chords on a piano or keys all thrown together and it comes out and it's like a perfectly baked apple pie. Like how do you get
Yeah.
that? You know what I mean? So yeah, it was great. Really, really enjoyed that. And it showed some imagination on the writer's perspective part. Okay, so shortly thereafter, the first verse begins and the music becomes slightly restrained to allow for the vocals to be delivered. It's kind of the music falls back a little bit to allow these kind of like, the singer to shine. And the only real musical constant in this portion is the rhythm section, while the guitar and the keys act as sort of these accent pieces that punctuate lines in the lyrics. Then after the first verse, the musical motif from earlier kicks in as a bit of an area of demarcation between the previous verse and what I believe is a pre-chorus, which is punctuated by the lyrics, "Be my Spider Woman, I'll be your Spider Man." Didn't catch a lot of the lyrics in this one, but that really struck me as a comic book nerd and also as someone who, if you gave me the over under on the chances that Spider Man or Spider Woman would have been featured in a song, I would have taken the under every time. So yeah, very intriguing use of lyrics there. Again, that same musical motif that I just mentioned is used to split the now pre-chorus and the upcoming chorus, just as it had been used between the verse and the pre-chorus. So I'm noticing this pattern, whereas this is like this connective tissue that kind of bridges each portion of the song together, and I'm it's just fun and interesting to pick up on that kind of stuff. And around the 238 marker, we get introduced to these resonant chords blasted from the guitar in what appears to be the early stages of a bridge portion. And the space in between the chord strikes over the top of the resonance, there's this added sound occupying this space, perhaps provided by some form of synth device, or in all likelihood, it comes from whatever it was that replicated that didgeridoo sound. I'm not sure. It could even be I think we got to the end of the song, like it was like a wah pedal that is also coupled with maybe another effect. I'm not sure, but it has that wow 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 kind of sound to it. So I'm looking at the thumbnail and I'm going, none of these guys looking like a seasoned didgeridoo player. It's probably just got to be a guitarist fucking around with some effect pedal or something like that. But maybe you can shine some light on that for me. Maybe not. Maybe it will forever remain a mystery. Regardless, it's doing an excellent job of taking up space and filling in the gaps in the song. And then that key driven melody slowly creeps in back into the frame, and the song refocuses around this tried and tested musical portion that is clearly acting as, again, this connecting bit throughout the whole song. We get treated to some more lyrical content, and then the music carries us towards the end, punctuated by these double chord strikes from earlier in the bridge portion. And I caught lyrics and as illustrated by my highlighting the Spider Woman Spider Man thing earlier, but I didn't catch enough to glean any form of meaning behind the song. From what I did catch, though, it sounded like he was singing. Sounded like he was singing this to someone. This sort of hypothetical you throughout is referenced a lot, and so perhaps it's some kind of love song or something to that effect. But I'm going to need you to kind of fill in the blanks for me there, give me more information about the song, the band, and the album.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. I chose this song because I think it's an absolute banger. You can't go wrong, and those striking big piano sounds are just wonderful.
Yeah.
And I love the way after from the second half of the song that the guitar absolutely mimics the earlier part of the piano. It just takes over the do 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 do
Yep.
do. It's just, um Charlatans for me are a really, really decent band. But not always like on the mark, but they went through a rich period, and this is definitely one of them. And great album, great track. So this was, I've just to say, we referenced in the intro, we've already done a reaction episode to them by Charlatans and went through all the band and makeup and everything like that. So I'll pop a link in the description below so you can go and check that out if you're more interested in the history and all that sort of stuff. So I'll just skate over that. So this was the first single from their fifth album, Telling Stories, and 1997. And it was the first release following the death of the band's keyboardist, Rob Collins, which we did cover in that reaction episode. So the single remains their highest charting song in the UK, reaching number 3 in the UK singles charts. One to Another also features worth noting samples, sounds and noises, which you referenced, and also drum loops from Tom Rowlands, he of the Chemical Brothers.
Yeah, yeah. So,
So
forgive me, did you say this was their most commercially successful song?
yes.
Okay, I wasn't sure if you meant the album or this track in particular. Okay, so
I think the album is as well, actually.
probably buoyed by this song, right? That seems to
they had three top 10 hits from this album.
Wow. Okay.
They're all really good, actually. So personnel: Tim Burgess vocals, Mark Collins guitar, Martin Blunt bass, John Brooks drums, Rob Collins vocals, keyboards, for what he did. Martin Duffy was brought in, keyboards, Dave Charles percussion, and Tom Rowlands loops. So in early '96, Tim Burgess and Mark Collins went to a cottage near Lake Windermere to write the material for this album. Shortly afterwards, they did test recordings in Rockfield, Monmouthshire, which is Wales, before main sessions with the band were underway from Easter '96 at the nearby Mono Valley studio. Partway through recording, as we said before, keyboardist Rob Collins was involved in a fatal car crash. The band drafted in Martin Duffy from Primal Scream to help finish it, and they concluded the album in early '97. So musically, the sound of this album, Telling Stories, and just to reference, you can't see it written down, but Telling Stories has an apostrophe at the end and no G.
I can tell by the way you said telling.
Yeah, it has been described as Britpop, hip-hop, soul, and rock. Bass player Blunt described it as a mix between Searching for the Young Soul Rebels, the Dexys album, beautiful one, and Let It Bleed by the Stones. Critics were comparing it to Let It Bleed, as well as Tonight's the Night by Neil Young and Gone Again by Patti Smith. Now, I know Tonight's the Night by Neil Young as an absolutely brilliant album, one of my favorites by him. I didn't know Gone Again when I was doing the research, so I downloaded it and had a listen. I've never really listened to later Patti Smith. It's really good. I was really surprised how good it was. And her partner, just as an aside, sorry, Fred Sonic Smith, I think it was MC5. He was still writing with her, and he just died for doing this album, and a load of her friends as well. And some of her other friends died while she was making the album, including your man from Nirvana,
Kurt Cobain.
Yes.
There we are.
That is
as
well.
So that, from Nirvana.
Yes. So, and there's somebody else as well, because I'm not reading any of this down. I'm just trying to remember as I was reading that. So it's just really surprising. It's a really good album, actually. I was so impressed that sort of what is it, 20 odd years after I saw was at peak, she's still doing great stuff. But that side, MTV's Mitch Meyer said the band avoided this is an interesting comment. The band avoided the overt Beatle popisms of their contemporaries like Blur and Oasis, instead opting to do a bluesier, more sultry take on the British invasion. And I think that's a really good point. And journalist John Robb, in his biography, The Charlatans, We Are Rock, referenced it as a Mark Collins album, as the music was getting more guitar orientated, based around classic rock and roll riffs. The singer Burgess shared a similar sentiment, saying that Rob Collins' death made them and also gave them the permission to sort of go with and progress with the guitar as the main instrument rather than relying on his keyboards. And discussing the
sort
title,
of Burgess, sound.
Yes, which was a necessity rather than a choice, but it worked out pretty well.
Exactly.
Burgess said of the title that they were going through an unexpected phase of dropping G's. And you see that in the lyrics as well. So, Telling Stories reached the top spot of the album charts in the UK. It sold 70,000 copies in its first week, stopping another band that we've covered, Supergrass, and their album In It For The Money. It stopped that from reaching the top spot. So there you go. And that song you reacted to, Richard Thurs, from that album. So it's all around that time. Interesting time for British indie music. The album was also included in the book 1001 Albums You Must Hear Before You Die.
Oh, I believe I've heard of this, this tome.
There's Deborah. So if we go to the page it's on, I'm terrible at holding this up so you can actually read it, but there it is. Charlatans.
Yeah.
And on the same page, you got Maxwell's Urban Hang Suite, which is a great album. Fun-Loving Criminals. Barry Adamson, Oedipus Schmiedipus, which is a brilliant album. Other Side, Magic Preachers, Everything Must Go. Not that one. That's awful. Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds, Murder Ballads, another great album. And The Other Way, not them. Eels, Beautiful Freak, Fiona Apple, Tidal. Yeah, we have a few stories about Fiona Apple, which we can't share. Wilco being there. Belle and Sebastian, Tiger Milk, and DJ Shadow, Introducing, which is a great album. What a time to be alive. So one to another, won Single of the Decade at the Loaded Awards. Loaded was a lads magazine that was full of bullshit, but it was a little bit entertaining until it became toxic. To which Burgess remarked, I would have chosen something else. So he's a happy chappy, isn't he? The album has been certified as platinum selling in the UK, so did well.
Yeah.
One to another. It's about a boy attempting to stop his relationship from disintegrating. And that's about as much as you get out of it. I mean, I'd say that lyrically, Burgess is weak. I know it's all right, but it's not intricate. Wills wrote that it had an aggressive Led Zeppelin-like guitar riff that was underpinned by Rob Collins' Stonesy electric piano and a bomb the bass beat. He added that while it features contributions from Rollins, it was the combination of the technical skills they had learned since working with Flood some years prior. Rollins added the sound of clocks and dinosaurs. Yeah. As well as running Mark Collins' guitar through a synthesizer, multi-tracking Collins' digital piano, the other Collins, and then adding the regular piano on top of that. So
I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and call bullshit on adding the sounds of dinosaurs. Like, who was around to capture the sounds of dinosaurs?
Well, obviously it's on reel to reel. It's not digital.
Clearly, yes. Yeah. Fair point.
Yeah, it's basically they sealed it in a conch and then smacked it open years later. Out it came. Yeah, exactly.
That's hilarious.
But clearly, I think when you listen to some of their earlier stuff, there is a step forward in terms of their uh, their aspirations in terms of production and their ambition, sorry, what they wanted to do.
Uh-huh.
And this is definitely a bit up. And having someone like a member of the Chemical Brothers is, if you want to go that way, having
Yeah.
them in the studio is a big tick. So, lyrics: one to another, sister and a brother, and are changing the way that you feel. Pleased to meet ya. Hope I never see ya. I'll be at ease watching you sleep, watching you smile. Love, I adore you, always looking for you, and I'll be there wherever you need me. Be my Spider Woman, I'll be your Spider Man. I hear our day's coming, get sweeter every year. Tomorrow's going to be too easy, and today's going to be too near. Trust is for believers, and love can keep the faith. I don't need you, I can't buy you, I can't hurt you. One to another, peace to my brother, always giving me his thing for free. Sad to knock you, it's good to rock you, and I'll do it the best that I can. I hear our day's coming, gets sweeter every year. Tomorrow's going to be too easy, and today's going to be too near. Trust is for believers, and love can keep the faith. I don't need you, I can't buy you, I can't hurt you. And then we have that instrumental breakdown. Stand by my accusations, I'll come clean. I don't need no vice. I know you want to keep me waiting. I think it's funny that you might. Love is hard to leave and it's hard to never have. Can you please crawl out your window? You can play with all my love. Yeah, 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 yeah. And then it finishes with box up all our records and a head full of ideas and a handful of escape routes. They're going to burn you. Yeah. But then pianos and guitars are good, weren't they?
Yes. Now that
Just
you mention it.
on a final note of trivia, so the song is also known as the theme song to a TV series called My Mad Fat Diary, which is a British show about an overweight, music-loving teenager named Ray Earl. Now, on a personal note, that book, which I've read, is set in my hometown, which is Stamford in Lincolnshire. And I knew Ray's mother. She used to work at the school I was at, and her stepfather, of which she takes the surname, was for a while my biology teacher as well.
Oh.
And but bizarrely, I never knew her. I think she's 2 or 3 years younger than me, perhaps a little bit more. But yeah, it's just weird reading the book. She talked about all the places I know in Stanford, but from the perspective of someone a little younger and like 3 or 4 years later,
Mm.
the scene that was around and the sort of various people. But the hot spots or low spots, whatever you want to call them, were pretty much the same. And so I could picture those sweaty hallways and sodden carpets in the pubs. And yeah, and it's cool that this song's associated with that.
Yeah,
When they
yeah.
did the TV series, they relocated it to London because it was much cooler than some town in Lincolnshire, which pissed me off no end. But I hope and I believe she made some money out of it, so good on her.
Yeah.
And then she buggered off out and went to live in Australia or something, I think. So yeah, good on her again. So there you go. Just a little bit of trivia there.
That's cool.
I shall wrap things up and say thank you for listening to this, Andy. Folks out there, tell us what you think. There's some really good Charlatans tracks. I think this is right up there in the top two. For my money anyway.
Lofty placement.
But please tell us what you think. If you like this, hit the like button, obviously, and drop comments about this song. What are your thoughts? The album as well is really good. Probably this is their best album, obviously. But yeah, we love hearing from you and all your comments. And if you haven't subscribed already, please do and help support this channel. We really appreciate everybody who jumps on board, even those who don't have a ticket. That being said, thanks so much for watching, and we'll see all of you in the next episode of the Audiophiles.
See you later, guys.